What's up, everybody? It's Saria, here with a match from December 2024 versus Z indoors. This match has one of the biggest turnarounds I've ever been a part of in my time playing tennis so far, so stick around for that if you'd like. I'm the player on the near side of the court right now, and I start out right away trying to take the ball early and take time away from him, keep him under pressure, and if you know me, then you know that even when I'm not doing this, I'm constantly walking a tightrope, and basically every single shot I hit has a 50-50 chance of missing terribly. So if you don't know me, keep that in mind. This is not going to be the cleanest tennis you've ever seen. This is two amateur players who started playing tennis as adults, going at it and working with what they've got. So I was in his first service game, but some bad errors cost me the chance to start this match out ahead, and then immediately in my service game, I get into a tense situation with some more errors. And again, if you haven't seen me before, then you also haven't seen my opponent, Z, a very defensive player who will just keep putting balls in play over and over and over, and unless you're quite offensively developed, then you're going to struggle, like me, because my offense is requiring immense amounts of work. So this has historically been an incredibly awful matchup for me, but let's see what I can do today.
Never a natural point. Never a natural point.
Relax now.
My double faults have gone way down in recent months, but they can still hit at some bad times, and now I'm down love 40. Let's try not to give up this time. He gives me a couple of very rare unforced errors, and that gets me back to deuce.
No.
Getting the hold from love 40 down always feels nice. Now can I build on this? Very little of what we do is going to be super pretty, but especially against him, I will take points any way I can get them. And I will also lose points in ways you never thought possible.
Oh my god, that...
Let's see which one of us remembers how to play tennis a little bit first. That was one of his patented skid 2 inches off of the ground serves. Then he follows it immediately with this one. One of the highest bouncing serves he's ever hit. And I know that that's kind of how tennis is supposed to work, like people are supposed to vary their serves and that's part of the point, but you do not expect that against him. For years, he's almost exclusively hit the same type of serve. So for him to hit one serve below my knee and the next one at my shoulders was big in that moment. And then the easy errors mounted, and I got into trouble in my service game again. And that's a classic Z return, falling sideways, planting it on a dime at my feet right by the line. Z was actually very sick on this day, but seemingly absolutely no factor out there affects his ability to place the ball where he wants to on a tennis court. My serve does not hurt him, and this is a problem. And it hurts him even less when I fail to put it in the service box. And here's another Z moment. The last thing I expected this backhand to do was send the ball low down the line, because he was lunging forward to get to it, but he constantly does unexpected things with the ball. Look at how he kind of flicks underneath the ball and scoops it, and yet it still does what it did. The fact that his unorthodox technique still so consistently unravels my game seems to get under my skin even more as time goes on. And now I'm in a very familiar situation when playing against this guy, desperate to win any point, especially the ones that go over 2 shots, because this seems to be one of those days where I cannot time the ball to save my life. And at this point, very candidly, after 6.5 years of playing tennis, after more than a year of taking lessons and putting so much time and effort and money and pain and sweat into this sport, I was thinking, what is the point of me playing tennis? I sure as hell don't seem to be getting any better. I come out here against my main playing partner and I lose the exact same way, just as badly, time after time after time after time. Missing forehand after forehand, backhand after backhand, serve after serve. Why am I still doing this? What's the point of this tennis channel other than to hurt the eyes of the people who are watching these videos? But I was still playing a tennis match, I was still in my court time, even though I was considering just walking off and driving home and giving up on all of this, I kept playing. I don't know why. Maybe it was its own form of resignation. But even after that, I still kept playing. I had won 1 out of 8 games against a player who was immensely struggling physically. And I felt truly worthless. But maybe if I keep hitting that yellow tennis ball shot by shot, I'll remember why I'm so fascinated by this sport.
Whoa, what the?
He probably didn't have to fall over to beat my mishit overhead, but he did. And it doesn't matter if he's falling over. He can do exactly what he wants with the tennis ball, no matter what. And it feels like I can't do what I want with the tennis ball in the very best of conditions. People really hate Z's tennis, but he's a natural with the tennis racket, and that's just how it is. And when you're hellaciously unnatural with a tennis racket like me, it's very tough to stand up to him. But hey, I got to deuce again. He usually wins these pressure points, but I've got to start doing it now.
Oh my god.
Just outplaying me. Again, as you see him nearly dying on the court, he's still leading me 9 games to 1. Let's just keep hitting the tennis ball, and for whatever reason, not giving up. That's unbelievably frustrating yet again. Let's keep trying. I'd like you to try and guess where Z puts this ball. He can go anywhere on the tennis court. He can hit a winner cross court. He can hit a winner down the line. Instead, he hits it right at my feet, like usual, forcing me to make an error and make me feel even worse about losing the point, making me feel like I did something wrong at the last moment. Z dismantles his opponents not with winners, but by melting them into a cascade of errors. And that's agonizing. This has been a gross game, and I'm facing breakpoint. Oh my goodness, something went right. That usually doesn't last, but let's see. Well, let's try and hit a good wide serve again and see if we can get a similar result. Well, I stayed in the point and fielded all of his deep balls, and then I immediately make a terrible error, and I'm facing breakpoint again.
No.
Okay, let's keep fighting. In the end, none of that resistance matters. 9 out of 10 games have gone to Z. To say it looks like I have no chance is an understatement, but I'm not walking off the court. I'm going to keep hitting that tennis ball. After a couple of deep returns and some errors from Z, I actually have a chance to win a game here. Second serve. And it skids straight into me as if we were on a grass court. There goes the chance. There's hardly a limit to how quickly you can lose a bunch of tennis points in a row, and that can make things really feel hopeless. But just when it seems like all hope is lost, he gifts me a double fault. and then he gives me another break chance. Like I said, there's hardly a limit to how quickly you can lose tennis points in a row. In this matchup, I'm almost always the one that's the case with, but in that moment, he was the one who finally let me win another game. And mentally, that was a huge release. As I watch all of this back and do this commentary, you can very clearly hear me go into this cycle of self-defeatism and negativity, but he's not as invincible as I like to convince myself. I keep talking about how he can make any ball no matter what, but he can make critical errors too. I've spent almost the entirety of the match up to this point feeling like every single point has ended with me making an error. It wasn't true, but it felt true. But all of a sudden, it feels completely different. I've won 2 games in a row, I'm 1 game off the pace, and just like that, I don't feel like quitting tennis. Oh, never mind. But I still won the point the ugly way, and it feels like I have momentum. Even the luck is falling my way. I managed to squash his disgusting deep moon ball, and I won the point off of it, and that gets me a chance, unthinkably, to be even in this set. I tried to go aggressive up the line, and I didn't land it. I'm so unbelievably horrified of missing volleys against him, or any shot for that matter, that I just put it right back to him and then he can immediately punish me. I really gave him that point. But then he gives me one, and I'm still in the game. For whatever reason, I'm just so terrified of going to the open court, and, of course, as he usually does, he perfectly punished me for it. It's very, very difficult for me to watch footage of me playing against Z because so much of these matches is me squandering opportunities. Which is why it's really nice to win points before I get the chance to squander opportunities. And if you stay on the tennis court long enough, even a very consistent player might not give you the chance to squander opportunities. It is so rare that Z will give away games with a bunch of easy errors in a row, but I will take it. The second set is now even at 3-all. Now that he's having a dip, can I start playing solid tennis? It'd be nice to make those volleys someday. It'd be really nice to make those volleys someday. And here we are, breakpoint down again. If that's hard for you to watch, don't worry. It's worse for me.
I'm the most scared tennis player who ever lived. The most scared tennis player who ever lived.
Can I actually take one of these breakpoints myself? That feels like the first time the entire day that I lasted for a long time and actually took an opportunity. Now I need to take this one. He kind of gave me one again, but I actually somewhat set up the point there. I kept on ragging on his backhand and then switched directions and forced him to come up with something, and we're back even again. But I've got to up my level if I want to win this set. There were good signs toward the end of that game. Let's see if I can keep it up.
I tried to calm myself down after I thought I made that first serve, but it was in my head.
It's really tough to win tennis sets when you're this incapable of stringing points together. But even then, I'm not out of this set yet. This is about as ugly as tennis could possibly get, but if I win this game, I'm still in with a chance.
I have to do that so much more often. Right back to opportunities. But you still hit a tough angle, though. Wow, that was...
So far, I'm really struggling to get those aggressive second serve returns above the net tape.
Yeah, move. You did not move your feet. Exactly what you've been working on. You have to take little steps.
Yet again, I suffered from my illness of refusing to hit the ball to the open court, and my punishment is facing down a match point. Sometimes you take a swing so bad it wins you the point. That was a quick turnaround.
Thank you.
The story of the match so far is that as long as I just survive long enough, sometimes I'm rewarded by being given games. But clearly I can't keep relying on this. Eventually I have to take matters into my own hands. Oh my dear Lord above, I hit a volley winner. Okay, let's keep this going.
Okay, now free your mind. Wow, okay.
I actually held my serve. I had plenty of chances to give it all away, as I have done so many times in this match. But I held on for dear life, and wouldn't you know it, I'm one game away from the set. Being rewarded for swinging out on that backhand was very heartening. For the first time all day, I'm taking confident swings at the ball, and he's missing again. Now, I was fully engaged. Second serve. Unless he hits something very unexpected, I'm going to try to go aggressive down the line. And this was the time I got it above the net tape. That was my first set win over Z in about a year and a half. It was, as you saw, unbelievably scratchy, just like his throat. He gifted me a lot of games, but I had to last long enough to get there. The second set was a long one, and it took us to the end of our court time, so we couldn't play out the rest of the match. But it's fine by me, because I get to go home actually having won the last game against him, which is obscenely rare for me to experience. Not all is right with the world for me. While watching this back and doing the commentary, I was in physical pain most of the time I was watching. He exposes all of my massive holes so well. I managed to barely eke out a set anyway, but the stars had to align, and I'm really sick of that. I'm tired of feeling myself be so ineffective against him and watching myself be so ineffective against him, and I'd really like to start seeing some really clear progress. That doesn't seem to be often how tennis works, especially not in the short term, but that won't stop me from trying, and that certainly shouldn't stop me from trying new things. If you've made it this far, I salute you. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you were able to enjoy that. Despite all of my whining, I did too. And I still love tennis, as ridiculously infuriating as it is. More to come on Seria Tennis. Have a good one, everyone.